Good afternoon, guys. Today we are here, the first day of Year Lab 2017 Leadership Summit. I have the honor to be next to Ilhan Omar, and we have some questions to her. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm part of Team Strong. My name is Leslie Espinoza. I'm 17. I'm from Peru, and I'm so glad to be a reporter today. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Leslie Espinoza, soy de Perú, tengo 17 años, es para mí todo un honor estar rodeado de personas tan admirables y con tanto ejemplo aquí. Well, let's start. First, tell me, why are you excited to be here, Ilhan?
I am excited to be here because this is an opportunity for me to be with young girls who are not just the leaders of the future, but the leaders of today who are making a difference in their communities, in their countries, and making sure that that they're taking their message of why education is important on a world stage. And I am proud and excited to be here.
Thank you. Well, you are the highest ranking Somali-American in the USA. Well, tell me, what message do you have for girls who want to be leaders in their communities?
Yeah. I mean, my message is simple. They are already leaders. They need to think of themselves as leaders, and they need to make sure that they are not allowing others to diminish that in them. And I want to encourage them to step in to their leadership shoes, because inside we are already born leaders, and we just need to take the opportunity to step into leadership. I often don't like when people say, we need to empower young girls to be leaders, because we are empowered. We just need the opportunity to step into our power.
Yes, and we must to believe that it's reality.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, your family felt Somali too, and they with you spent 4 years in a refugee camp before you come here to the US. Tell me, what do you think that is the importance of these kind of organizations like Girl Lab to support refugees in education and girls?
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes when people are escaping conflict and they're entering refugee camps, safety, food, shelter, those kind of things are their main importance, right?
Yes.
And education falls to the wayside. And so that was true for me. I didn't have a lot of opportunities to fully take advantage of whatever limited educational opportunities that existed in the camp. And so making sure that we are holistically thinking about helping refugees in thinking what is it that they need to fulfill their educational needs, and how can we prepare them to be ready when they get the opportunity to leave and to live in another country where they will have full access to education. I was fortunate enough that by the time I was 8 years old, I could read and write, because I was born into a family of educators. There's a lot of young kids that were in the refugee camp with me who they didn't even start school when the war happened, and when we came into the refugee camp, the opportunities didn't exist. So they're coming to a country like the US or Norway or Sweden, at the age of 14, 12, 15, and they've never sat in a classroom. And I think that already sets them up for failure, and their host countries oftentimes don't know that this is the reality that these kids were raised in, and there's a lot more for them to overcome. And they compare my success to someone like that, and it's not fair oftentimes. And so just recognizing that there is a spectrum of what refugees are and who they look like, and the kind of opportunities that they might have had, and where there is a barrier to make sure that we are filling in that gap.
Yes, I always say that an educated girl can make a change in all the world, because there are many values and learnings that you can put in practice, to not to compare, just to complement in other people.
Right.
Yes. Well, then, You know that in a divided time, nowadays the world have many examples of discrimination, unfortunately, and united, and if we are together, it's like we must have a number. So tell me how have you worked to improve unity in the world, in your district?
I mean, I think this particular divisiveness that exists plays into, making sure that there's certain people who are benefiting from that divide, right? Because divided we fall.
Yes.
And so it makes sense for them to divide and conquer. And what I work towards creating is a celebration of our unity and our diversity, and making sure that people are understanding that we all have things in common. We all have hopes and dreams that are not that much different from one another, right? We all want a great education. We all want an opportunity to work. We all want to live in a safe environment. And we all want the best for our children. And that is a universal thing. And so when people are feeding into this otherness, they are taking away someone's humanity. And it does get exhausting oftentimes to explain and to identify your humanity for people. At least it feels exhausting for me. But we must continue to do that, because even in hostile situations, they tell you, you've got to tell the person, your childhood stories and, your mom and dad and all of these things, right? Because they need to see you so that they can't harm you. And this is why these conversations are important now. We need to see people as humans, and we need to start having these conversations about who the kids in the refugee camps are, what hopes and dreams they have, and how they might not be so much different than the kids that are growing up in suburbia America. And then making sure that we are creating that connection, right? The kids in Somalia are not that much different from the kids in Peru. And so we are all humans. We all have the same needs, and we all have the same aspirations and dreams. And I think it is that message of oneness that slowly I think creates a conversation about unity.
Oh, that's the thing I love from you, because you think in everyone, minorities, misses. So it's like, oh my God. Well, the last question is, what is your message or your tips for these young people who to not never give up and to follow their dreams although whatever happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think, change isn't easy, right? There's a lot of struggles, and there might be a lot of barriers to a particular dream that you have. But as humans, we are very resilient. And so if you are determined to get something done for yourself and for your people, to struggle through that, to never give up, and to constantly remember that there are people who are overcoming much more worse things than you. There's always someone worse off. In your darkest days, right? In the days that you might not have food, shelter, whatever, there might be someone that's worse than you, that might have disability on top of that might, be blind, deaf, like all of these other things. So you have to always count your particular blessing and think, if that person is still smiling, then I must still continue. I remember I told my grandfather one time that I was so hungry that I couldn't do anything. I just wanted to lay and cry. And he said, well, you're hungry because you didn't eat like a day and a half or 2 days. And there's a promise of food soon. But there are people who have gone through, have gone without food for a week. They don't know when they will have food again, right? And he's like, there's probably a pregnant lady, there's probably a newborn child. And it made me think of just being humble in that my situation is never as bad as it could be.
Oh.
And I have particular blessings and privileges, even though it does not look like it. And to remember that I still need to continue to do as much as I can to make my situation better, that I do not give into and give up.
Great, Ilhan. Well, that's everything. Thank you, guys. This is Ilhan Omar. See you